Blackhorn Township, March 3rd. Testing. Testing.
How long were you gone for? Yeah, I went away too. To Boston.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the Express Times and Star Gazette, satisfying the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act. If we could please stand for a silent prayer and flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have a motion for the approval of the February 3rd, 2015 meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Fleck?
Yes.
Van Loo? Angeli?
Yes.
Kern?
I abstain from that one?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, wait, should that Sal was? Is that the one Sal was missing?
Sal was missing too. It's three of us.
Okay, then, Sal and,
You weren't at it.
okay, so can somebody else move the minutes then?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I was here
Yes. All right. What difference? Okay. What difference does it make? Don't make that whole thing.
Okay. Is there a motion to pay the bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department and approved by the majority of the members listed on the bill list?
So moved.
Second.
Becker?
Yes.
Fleck?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Are we okay with all the signings?
Yes.
Angeli?
Then I say yes.
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Okay, are there any public comments pertaining to agenda items? Seeing none, the attorney is not here yet. We'll move on to Township Council reports and start with Frank.
Okay. Yeah. We have the budget on the agenda today. I've got that screen up because I don't know how to turn it off without losing it, so I'm going to leave it up and we'll talk about it later. The Historic Preservation Commission met this past Wednesday, and Ingrid graciously volunteered to sub for Sharon because she broke her shoulder. And Ingrid has already written some nice notes for that meeting. And because I have them right in front of me, my Historic Commission report will probably be more complete than it normally is. But basically, some of the items were the tunnel restoration. I think we talked about starting that up again in the spring when Gwen was here a few months ago. And there's some concern that if we don't start it up fairly soon in the spring, the wing wall restoration, that we could lose the grant. The Shimer Manor House, we talked about that somewhat, and I think the news there is that the owners of the Shimer Manor House have approached the PHHS for offering, and I guess it's informal so far, but offering to donate the building to the PHHS. And they'll probably be looking for a letter of support from the town. I pointed out that it does sound like a nice project for the PHHS. I think if we do donate that, we would be giving up probably taxable revenue, I would think, because it's a nonprofit. Wine kilns, there's not much new on that. we still aren't making any progress with the owners to, although they initially offered to give the town the lime kilns. I think they've rescinded or have not, I think they recanted basically. Yes, yes. Regalsville Historic District, they're still working that. So I think there's a woman, Phil Cummins, who's working on the application. I think she's going to come to the next historic committee meeting. There's a Warren County History Fair, April 18th, and Michael Margulies is going to speak at it at 1 o'clock. And do you know where that is, Mary?
No, I have the email on my computer at home.
Okay. Well, we've got time. We'll get you the address for the next meeting.
Is it over in the Clinton Township area?
It says Washington Borough does this. So I think it's up on 31 someplace. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Frank.
Just to say thank you for Ingrid. Very nice of you.
Not to prolong the meeting, but there's a home in Warren Glen that's 150 years old.
Okay.
And it's got holes in it this big. Maybe your commission would like to look at that house. The holes are huge in the roof. I don't think it could be saved anymore.
I'd like to clarify one thing from Frank's report. He kept using initials. That's not the Historic Commission. That's the Paccon History and Heritage Society that would be involved with the Shimer House. So it's not our commission because they don't have any funding or anything to do anything. So the house you're talking about, they may be interested in it, but as far as being able to do anything, that would be,
They'd have to tear it down.
well, it's to, the history and heritage is the way to go. We have two groups. One is a municipal group and one is like a public group. And that is the public group that can be more involved as far as doing something with historical sites.
The dam's coming down this year. They're taking all kind of pictures down there. All right, I just wanted to alert you to it.
There was one thing that Michael and others said was that, we talked about the Shimer Manor and the fact that it's in such terrible shape. And he's suggesting that the town get involved earlier. So like if we got involved 10 years ago and forced them to fix the roof, then it wouldn't be as bad a shape as it is now.
Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda doesn't help right now.
Well, no, but it could help future houses that are in jeopardy. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Dave?
We have not had an environmental meeting since our last council meeting, so I don't have really anything new to speak of on that side, other than Sharon Smith, as Frank had said, is an operator on, I believe this is the third time for her shoulder. She was operated, I believe, on Friday or yesterday, and she's back in rehab, so we're wishing her the best at fast recovery. Land Use Board also, we have not had a meeting, I don't believe, since our last council meeting. So there's nothing new to report on that aspect either. I can give you the DPW report from the 17th till now. They sold and plowed the township roadways, municipal parking lots, playground lots, firehouse lots on the 17th, the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. They plowed back snowdrifts on Winters Road, Overly, Melix Woods, Mountain, Cemetery, and Carpentersville. The power washed all the equipment off after each snowstorm. They repaired the loader and the plow trucks after each snow plowing. They cleaned off all the catch basin inlets to aid in snow melt runoff. They changed snow plow blades on the snow plows and repaired snow chains. And they cold patched potholes throughout the township. Other than that, as everybody could see, it's a rough night tonight. Everybody be safe driving home. I really don't have a whole lot more for you now.
Thank you, Dave. Mary?
Okay, I don't have a police report tonight, but I just want to mention that the fire company is having their annual dinner on March 28th, and it's at the firehouse, and it would be $25 for a ticket. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Very short.
Sal?
I don't have nothing, but we should hurry up this meeting. I don't have nothing.
All right, thank you, Sal. I had a couple of quick things. First is that the Economic Development Commission met for the first time last week, and they selected Jay Krantz to be the chair, and they will be meeting, I believe it's the second Monday of the month at 7 at the municipal building. That's what they organized. And again, Ingrid Gray was the secretary for that, so she's got the hat trick for the boards in Sharon's absence. Second thing is, if you're not aware, the Bloomsbury Emergency Squad did officially announce that they are defunct now. So the Phillipsburg Emergency Squad will be covering the entire township. I do want to clarify that their chief did make some remarks suggesting that some towns left them hanging out to dry, and we were not one of them. We met with them on several occasions. Mary Van Loo, myself, the fire chief, the police chief, we all were trying to see ways that we could keep them viable, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. And, you know, Phillipsburg will continue to provide our residents with good service. Also, it is one of our land use board members who also sits on the school board, Cynthia Samanchi, sent me her resignation for personal reasons. So I am in communication. I sent a letter to Pat Babcock on the Board of Ed asking her for some candidates from the school board to sit on the land use board. So I'm going to wait to hear back before we appoint anyone to the land use board on that position. And one quick thing to follow up on as well, I spoke with Jeff Levitz about this today, which Jeff had a really good idea. Currently, when cars in Pohatcong are impounded or towed, they're taken to Ross Nagel's or whatever different business in town, and Jeff Levitz had the idea, well, why don't we bring them to the municipality and then charge the fee there? So I ran with it, Jeff, after we talked, and Kevin is going to be looking into what our current code book is to establish something. I think currently, what the chief told me, we have about 3 to 4 cars a month, so it's not significant, but as far as what it will do to vehicles in the facility, but I mean, it's a good idea to try to get us a little bit more money, so I appreciate that, you know, that thought.
What about, also we'll look into insurance because it's a kind of different use as far as parking here? If you're impounding a car?
Yeah, I don't know the exact legality of it. That's why Kevin's going to look into it, but like I said, I know other towns do it.
You
So
mean Denver, Kevin?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So those are. Oh, and one more thing on the topic of Ingrid Gray. I will be appointing her to serve in my place on the land use board as the Class 1 liaison. I've known Ingrid for a good amount of time since I've been in office, and she, I think, will be a good, calm, level-headed voice on the board. And you know, I'm glad that she's willing to step up and serve. And you know, she's obviously doing it for the money, so it's it's good. I appreciate it. So thank you, Ingrid. That all being said, I guess we will move on to the budget discussion.
Um, The idea here is sort of to show you how we got to where we are. I've looked at 9 years or 6 years worth of data, 2009 to 2014, that was on. It's all public information. It's on the website, which is, it's hard to decipher through all of it. To pick up numbers in the right place. But Lorraine is helping find things. And so I put together some spreadsheets, and then I used those spreadsheets to input into this presentation. If there are any errors in it, they're minor errors. But I think they're pretty accurate, at least from a big picture perspective. See where we are and how we got there. And in that way, we can also lead into some of the decisions we're going to have to make going forward. Here, I think this is basically Lorraine's chart from last year when she described the adopted budget. It shows where our property taxes go, and it illustrates Sal's point that the biggest piece of that budget is school. And all we control in this, have an influence over in this room is the township, which is only 29% of the total budget.
Is the open space part of it, part of the township's open space, or the county's open space?
That's township.
Local open space tax.
Okay, so technically 30%.
And you add all those pieces of pie up, and it adds up to over $12 million, $12.6 million in 2017. And it's important to understand where our taxes go and how large our taxes are, because I think we discussed it last year. I think Dr. Hernandez went about the Rutgers study that the Center of Government Services had a study that showed that 565 municipalities in New Jersey, Cohasset ranked 26th from the bottom, 26th worst as far as affordability of tax. When you look at the size of our tax dollars relative to the affordability and income of our citizens, it's the bottom 5% of the state. And I looked at the revenues, in total and by source. Obviously, the biggest piece is taxes. There's also state aid. We used to have Alpha Police. We have CORE. And we use some of our surplus that's generated in some years, in almost every year, in 2 years. So the taxes, you can see, have increased, and we're quite a different level. By the way, this 2014 number is pretty flat in 2014, but the high point was 2012. And if we look at the blue line, which is state aid grants, that we used to get around it to $600,000 state aid grants, and now it's more like $400,000. So that's going down. And state aid is really aiding folks. First they confiscated some of our money, and then they did things with that. Utilities, energy tax. Yeah, we confiscated it, and then they did it back to Then the Alpha Police $500,000 each year until 2012, I think, when it phased out. And we no longer have that revenue source. The court revenue in 2009 and 2010 is fairly modest, and that was free red light cameras. 2011 it grew quite a bit because that's red light cameras mostly just for part of the year. I think we got the last quarter of 2011. 2012 was the highest source of red light camera revenue because we had 2 red light cameras operative then. And then in 2013, we had 1, so it went down. And 2014, it was down a little bit more. And some of it's because people learn and change their behavior, actually. So it became safer. I believe it safer. And lastly, well, I should point out also that, that bar, that piece of bar, is not going to be there at all after December 16, 2014, that red light camera program as well. And then the yellow line is the surplus used. And in 2009 and 2010, there wasn't much surplus relative to utility years. It was about almost 400,000, a little less than 400,000. But of that surplus that we had, we used up almost all of it. In 2011, 12, 13, we were able to generate more surplus because we had and and we used that surplus. We used that surplus to keep the taxes from increasing a lot, and we used it to for what we said we could use for safety. I mean, almost everything the town does is safety related. The police are safety related. Firefighters are safety related. The DPW is safety related. If you go out on an icy road, you see that the DPW is safety related. So, and we spent money on police, DPW, fire, all those safety related things in each of these years.
Frankie, it's open.
No.
Say it, we'll try to answer them. Okay, so looking at those red light camera revenues now for police revenues again, you can see that we had the luxury or the benefit of both of those these years. Mostly out for police, we had a benefit of here. We didn't have the red light camera there. And we had the red light cameras here, but not out for police there. But in total, I mean, over that long period of time, we had a lot of revenue that we no longer have. And looking at the spending, we looked at employment costs, loan to capital improvements, red light cameras, uncollected tax revenue reserves, and other stuff. But the primary component of the spending is employment-related costs. And we'll look at those also. But it looks like we've been pretty good. We have a pretty flat employment-related costs over 6 years. But that belies the fact that we had Alpha police revenues here supporting more police officers. I think we had 15 officers before we lost the police. Now we're down to 12. And we have 5 DPW employees back here. Now we have 4. No one we had 5.
I don't know if it was 2019.
Well, at some point we had 5, and now we have 4. And at some point we had 15 police officers. Now we have 12 on part-time. So if we had that salary number would have gone up. The employment rate would have gone up. So we had that right now. The other category, it's mostly, well, it's a lot of little stuff. It's like utilities, liability insurance, language board, first aid and fire department, bunch of miscellaneous items. And the loans and capital improvements, is an increase too. I think that's largely because of what we're saying. We had to borrow money and pay money for capital improvements for the building. Looking at surplus again, we had, like I said before, in 2009, 2010, we had surplus developed as we had surplus at the beginning of the year. We used most of the surplus during the year. And when we had a lot of revenue, we didn't use up all the surplus. So we did use up some of it. And we used it for, like I said before, thinking taxes can increase a lot and for maintaining staff. That's how it but the surplus that we've been using has gone down as a percentage. Going up as a dollar amount. So we started out using almost all of it, and now we're getting to the point where we're using about half of it. And this surplus used here of 550,000, that's still up for grabs. We're not done with the budget. So we're still discussing how much of that surplus we can use. But my fear is that if we use much more than that, we won't have any next year, and we'll be up against the same wall. This slide just shows you in graphical form what I just said. The tall bar is how much surplus there is. And the light green is how much we used in each year. Surplus as the beginning, say, and how much we used in each facility. And the dark green bar is how much we saved. Since the largest cost is employment-related costs, I thought we'd look at that a little further. You can see that it's not surprising, the biggest employment-related cost is salaries and wages, 73%. But there's still substantial employment-related costs associated with insurance, mostly health insurance, police and fireman retirement system, Social Security and unemployment, and health insurance retirement system. So this is the component that there's about $3 million, as you saw in that prior fairly level slide, of employment-related costs every year that we've had. And if you look at it, we've got a little over 3,000 employees. Citizens. There's 3,339, I think, 2010 census citizens, residents. And if you take $3 million divided by 3,339, you get over $900 just for employment-related costs for every man, woman, and child in this town. And here's how the costs break down by department. The largest department in headcount and cost is the next largest is DPW on public work. Say excluding sewer, because some of the DPW budget or salaries are paid from sewer. If we included sewer, this would be about a third higher. The size of that slice of the pie. Then we have courts, clerk, clerk officer, and finance and tax. That finance and tax is the CFO, the accounts payable clerk, the tax assessor, the tax collector, small amount of
Yeah, part of the tax collector comes out of sewer also, right?
Sewer utility, yeah.
That's true. That's not in here. But,
Yeah.
Again, that slice would be slightly larger.
Frank, about the court costs. Doesn't Greenwich Township owe us quite a bit of money? We're doing a lot of work for them.
Yeah, I don't know what the arrangement is there. I mean, we agreed to share services, but the state,
It's still held up by the judge that has to okay it.
right, AOC is.
But
Well,
our court administrator has actually been going to Greenwich to their court for their court days.
we're
I don't
spending,
know if we can collect or we are collecting or she's working for them
They keep the
on their own.
they keep the hours and everything, and we get reimbursed, do we not?
It
No.
started out as I was actually invoicing them, where it included an administrative charge to cover the employment taxes, all the other employment expenses that our citizens are able to receive if they're over Greenwich or Greenwich. But when they stopped doing that, and they just did the direct time payment and I hadn't gotten it for a while.
So we have to submit the time payment to them?
I'm not quite sure how it's operating. I think Greenwich made a change on their end.
They just got a new
They
CFO.
hire them as
Oh,
as
okay.
temporary part-time employees.
All right.
They do that because there's still other employees there on house.
Well, Jim said they just got
They just got a new CFO.
Yeah, they do.
That's probably.
It's a good question, but frankly, in the long term, I think the shared services with the court is a good icebreaker and exercise in sharing services. I don't think it's going to generate a lot of money. And I'll make the same point I made last year. Town council is in other. If we did a separate slice for town council, you wouldn't even see it. It's all the council together is, and I only raise this point because somebody asked the question. And if all the town council together would be less, would be about 1/10 of
Well, in the other also, wouldn't all your like inspectors and people like that be in there?
bunch in this one. I raise this point just to put things in perspective. It's hard to compare communities with this. So I just took this raw statistic. We looked at how many police are in different towns around us and like us, and compare the number of police to the population. You got a ratio. Police to Hakon has 13 police with an 8,000 population. This is about 1.6 police per 1,000 population. Greenwich has 10 police with that population. You get about 1.75 police per 1,000 population. Mansfield is not that close to us, but they're similar to us. And they have Route 57 going through it. They're close to Hackettstown. And they've got Walmart and big box stores. We have 222 going through us, we're close to Phillipsburg, and we've got big box stores. They've got 14 police with that population, that's about 7.5. So it's about 1.81 police per 1,000. Alpha, I put that in there because they used to be with us. Now they're with Phillipsburg, and I want to see what kind of impact they have. Phillipsburg has 38 police. The population's 14,950. They got about 2.5 police per 1,000. Hakon has 12. I wasn't sure exactly how many hours part-time. But that's 12.65 police for that population, and you get a ratio of 3.78 police per 1,000 miles. If you look at Kohat plus Alpha, the way it used to be, it was 15 police per population. 2369 plus 3,339, population 5,700, and you get a ratio of 2.63. Phillipsburg plus Alpha, similarly, is the ratio of about 2.19. And one of the first questions I asked Chief Greenmeyer was how many police we had way back when, and we had way back when he was hired we had around 7 police. The population is 3,500. They get a ratio of about 2.
Did you do anything as far as these municipalities go, as far as geographic area?
No.
Because I know we're a large area compared to, say, Alpha or
Well,
Beaver.
I think Mansfield's like 30 square miles. Greenwich is
Square
about,
foot.
yeah,
Yes,
30.
square
Greenwich is about 5, 6. Lopat is smaller than that.
Okay,
Peaburg is
we're
smaller.
bigger than them.
We're bigger than them. Yeah, Mansfield is 30 square miles.
Right, but
Mansfield's
that's
huge.
Mansfield, but I'm thinking of like Lopat and Greenwich. I'm thinking of the ones that are around us. Because you constantly compare to the population where there are definitely other variables that you have to take into consideration. And that would be the size of the area that needs to be checked into and looked after.
Well, another thing we have to realize, we have the malls, we have all this economic development in the township, and that's why we need the police like we do.
And to be quite frank, I would not consider 57 like 22 or 78. I'd consider 57 like 519.
Well, but when you think about where Mansfield is in relation to Mansfield, Hackettstown,
Yeah,
Kohat,
we
Phillipsburg,
yeah.
yeah, and 80, yeah, Route 80.
Does 80 go through Hackettstown or does 80 go through Warren County?
It's closer.
I know 46 does because you could pick up 46, I think, in Hackettstown. But I'm thinking 80 is outside of it. It's in North Warren as far as the county goes. So it was-
It's just you want to talk more about it?
No, we can go on.
Then the last thing we looked at was the sewer utility. This is good. I mean, basically, we're in good shape with the sewer utility. The rents we collect and the surplus we use is enough to cover our spending. And I think we've done some good things there. I think we've made some repairs. I think Walmart work put in. I think there's commitment to the we have some important stuff we talked about, and that won't be anybody involved. And so basically, even though Gulfport has raised our rates, so we've been able to probably pass them on to the
The reason that being, Frank, the stormwater was going into the sewer pipes, and we replaced and fixed a lot of that drainage. We were paying for the stormwater, and we fixed it.
That's why that blue line is smaller than it used to be. And that's why we can afford to keep the rates.
Frank, do you know what, I don't know if you know that, Lorraine, maybe you do, what a percentage or a point of the, if you raise sewer, how much that equates to in a dollar figure? What the, yeah. That's a complicated, okay. I'm just curious.
But people are now billed on their usage, not
Yeah,
flat fee.
that's why it's not as
Yeah.
easy as just,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I
it's a
think that's
cent.
a fairer way of doing it, though.
Yeah,
on
oh yeah.
usage.
So you'll get it to that price out if you charge dollars more.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. I'm just curious. Yeah.
And that's basically all I have. I'll leave this up, just in case there's questions for you.
Any questions?
I did put something.
Yeah, there you go.
And I don't have anything for distribution here other than among the council members. But these are some of the ideas we talked about last meeting, augmented a little bit. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm sorry to talk about police and jobs like Colts. I know people aren't and I don't want anybody to lose their job any more than anybody else does. I'm just laying out the problem for and what our options are.
And just to piggyback on what Frank just said there, I just want to make this abundantly clear is that I think there's in some of the comments that I've heard, a lot of them have been personally directed at Frank, and I just want to say that what Frank is doing is doing a darn good job at it, is making us aware of a problem that most of us on here have started to work on as a council. So I don't think it's fair to necessarily target the messenger who's done the work, who's done the research to help us understand this, because it's a very complex subject. So I just wanted to put that out there that, you know, this is an issue that we need to be aware of and we need to confront, and it's how we do it. And I appreciate, Frank, you doing all of this work and, you know, making it comprehensible for us to understand. I mean, myself included. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces. That's one of the things that Bill Schroeder always says. He goes, POHAT has a lot of moving pieces, and if they all don't go the right way, it can be a significant problem to our taxpayers. So I guess with that, we should segue into the sheet that we have in front of us now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess, so to just recap where we were last meeting, if nothing happens, status quo, what happens, Lorraine, as far as the tax rate on the resident?
If the budget stays exactly as it is right now, there would be almost 20% increase in the municipal portion.
Which is what on the average home?
$258.
Okay.
A 20% increase.
But if we keep our police in, which I keep saying over and over, and our DPW person, which I keep saying over and over, because we keep saying it, but obviously it's not being heard. And yes, there is an increase. The other things that you have on the list, as far as I'm concerned, are fine. Take those decreases, but keep the police and the road department intact.
Figure out the 12 cents instead of 8, then somewhere nearabouts.
Yeah, we put a laundry list together of all the, or a bunch of possibilities. And a bunch of little things, frankly. But you could see, since the headcount is the largest component of our costs, you have to, it has the largest impact on our budget.
Just to, Lorraine, we're throwing out figures. So a 12% increase, what's that on the average assessed home in the township? 12 cents, I'm sorry. We got to get to that dollar ratio. Were we at one time?
Were you saying 20% before?
Yeah, percent. Percent, I think, is what we're trying to.
Oh, 20%.
Percent increase. Percent, one word instead of percent.
Yeah.
But if we use these other things and still keep our police and road department intact.
I think it's about.
Increase, but it will not be.
Well, I'm trying to get that
Still
number.
The worst case
Like
scenario.
$204, I think.
Yeah, that's the number I'm trying to get.
We have $204.12, that would be 11.27%.
And that would be those two departments, correct?
Right, that would be, backing up for, everything above the police.
Barring any other changes. Yeah. I think we need to go that route. I think we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot by cutting either of those departments. Again, you can't keep just going by the number of residents we have. You have to go by how big the township is. You have to go by the different things that they encounter. You hear my reports every month as far as how many citations have been issued, what cases are being worked on. There's a lot of things going on in that department that aren't necessarily public awareness. So it's, you just can't keep going by the number of people that live here.
Well, yeah, not just the number of people who live here, taking a look at the ratio of the number of people,
But you,
per the number of
but
people.
that's
who live
what you
here.
keep doing in all your considerations. You always go back to the number of people that we have living here. And I'm saying you just cannot do that. It's not that kind of a thing. It's not
I
just
just
a
did it.
numerical thing.
I go along with what Mary said. The way the world situated, well, we shouldn't bring in the world.
This is only
The way robberies and speeders and drug pushers, we need the police. You know, to apprehend these culprits.
I remember one comment last time or the time before said, we got to keep the taxes low. We can't keep increasing the taxes. And the same person said, and we can't lose anybody.
Well, if it was me,
You can't have both.
you want to try to keep them as low as possible.
No, I don't think it was you.
Well,
No.
regardless. I mean,
I
like,
think-
how many years have we managed to keep them low? We've tried to do that, but there comes a time when you can't do that. And that's what I'm saying. Right now, this is the time when it's going to have to go up some.
I don't think we kept them low. I think we kept them steady.
Well,
I
that's
mean, if
true.
in the
We
lowest.
kept them
if we're
steady
in
with
the
what
worst-
we inherited.
We're in the worst 5% of the state as far as affordability of our taxes. We haven't made them low.
It's a report.
So it's one-
What,
No, I mean,
say that again?
It's a Rutgers study.
It was a study. Well, not everything out of Rutgers.
Published last year.
Yeah. What was the year? Because it
The year
was,
was further back. It was like
yeah,
2008.
2008, yeah. But
Like,
still,
Things haven't improved
Yeah.
since
So what do
2008
they?
as far as
like-
affordability.
Yeah, but what things do they base on? Because I know when I read the reports, for example, the reports that are given for how kids do on state tests, there's a lot of errors in there. So it's like, you know. and
what I will do,
Sometimes they compare apples to oranges.
I
Are they
did,
really
I did
doing
send that when that report came out, that was distributed to everyone, but I will make sure that everyone gets it so you can see.
Are
the-
we
But it's
getting-
one report. Are we like that in every, all the other things that the state, does the state?
Well,
write us?
no,
I mean, who
Everybody
else,
else.
you know,
I don't think
there's
there's,
more than one report, like, I
I-
need to see more information.
I don't think there's a market for people doing reports on municipal tax rate
Well,
in New
but
Jersey.
the
I
state
just,
should be doing something. They should have
I don't think they
information.
analyze what,
Are we all getting the same amount of state aid?
No.
That's right, we're not. Newark, Camden, Irvington, they get all the money and we get the headaches.
that aside, Sal, this is the problem that we face. And we can complain all we want about Newark and Irvington, and that's fine, but
But we've also said that, we keep saying, we want to keep those employees here in the budget. And all I keep doing is getting budgets handed out where they're taken out of the budget.
you haven't gotten a budget. This is a budget.
Well, but what I'm saying is,
Discussion time.
yeah, but that's what I mean with the discussion, every single time. Do I have to say it every single time then when you bring it up? Because you always put it there. So, in other words, I have to make sure I'm at every meeting so that I can say every single time that budget comes out that we need to keep the police and the road department intact. Because last meeting we were saying that, the meeting before we were saying that, now we're saying it again. I mean, when will you start including that and working from there?
Frank, what about this here, new ideas we have with the police department, where we're losing one, oh, we can't say it.
We're not talking about the,
I'm trying to think
Yeah,
of
I know.
saving money, so we don't
I
have to
know
pay
what you're
this
saying.
individual. You
Yes,
understand
no.
what I'm saying?
11 guys.
No, Sal, that contract that we have will allow us to
not this year.
well, maybe, but we're not anticipating it, so it'll be a nice unanticipated revenue for the municipality. But that's not being considered in the budget.
Anybody retiring?
Maybe, maybe not, you know, it's
You
up
don't
to
know.
people when they want to retire. I'll tell you right now, though, anybody who's of the age, retire, because you will not realize how wonderful it is.
What about those poor slaps in our age, Mary? You know, keep plugging away so you guys can, or what?
I don't know. I think I enjoyed work more than that.
Lorraine, on a $200,000 house, say our taxes go up 10%, what would that mean a month?
Well, how would you
Where
get
you have where she has is an average house of 168,400, and if we don't do anything on an average house of 168,400, our taxes will go up $358.
And that's the 20% that they were talking about.
That's $30.
That's 20% increase in the
How
municipal
much a
tax.
month?
That's $30 a month.
But if we just keep the police and the road department in there, that takes it down. Do the other one still.
Well, that's
If
14.
we don't do anything to employees, or we don't make any changes in the number of employees, It's $204 increase in taxes.
Right, but then, and then monthly divide that by, well, no, you'd have to divide the whole dollar.
It's $17 a month.
Is everybody in agreement with all those top changes above the police and the judge's reaction?
Yeah, I've read through them a number of times, and that's,
I don't have any issues with that.
Sarah, are you on board with that as well?
Wait, I'm sorry, Lorraine.
Are you on board with all the
in
top
other words,
changes?
all these changes that we've talked about.
Other than the employees cell.
Those, and
Wait a
then-
minute, okay. Let me go hold on. Reduced the cleaning for the building to 1 day a week. I don't think she could do it. 1 day a week.
Well, how much more territory does she have than when it used to be once a week?
Well, it's a lot bigger.
That's quite a
No,
bit.
I mean, the building's a lot bigger, but what's going to have to happen is that people are going to have to be, I mean, a little bit more,
Oh, yeah, and not such pigs.
yeah.
I'm sorry, when it's not your house, for some reason, people seem to think they don't have to pick anything up, they don't have to keep things clean. Wanda, I have a
Unfortunately,
question. Way back when
try to walk that with it.
we had somebody come in to clean, how often did they clean? Was it really once a week, or was it once every 2 weeks? Every week. It was every week.
She didn't come all the time.
Okay,
She didn't do a good job.
okay, but it was every week, though, that they were scheduled to, okay.
No, I'm not.
So what?
I'm not.
Yo, watch out.
You don't want to run
One
that.
item. I'm not in favor of moving the construction services to the state level. I'm not in favor of that.
Well, if you're not in favor of that, then we have to increase our fees for permits, because,
No. Well, hold on. Not just that. You got to find $30,000 to cut out of the budget then.
well, that's what I'm saying, is they do not bring in enough money to
Yeah.
cover their department, which is, the only way you can do that is by raising your permit fees. Because the construction department is supposed to fund itself. We should not be funding them, and actually,
Well-
here we are.
The economic situation has gone down tremendously, but it will pick up. I know I just took a look at
Yeah,
my
but
property transfer up there in Shimer, Fusilli's house. It went for about 230,000.
so where is the construction official going to approve all the construction that's going to happen in the town? Where? I'd like,
Yeah,
Where?
where are we building?
Well,
Where are we gonna have some growth?
Monterey,
where?
or Monterey, if we could develop that, and
And my other question is, does
And
he have the
then,
certification?
Raymore and Flanagan,
Okay.
there, we can develop that. You want me to still go on?
I would, yeah.
That empty lot behind Walmart's, we can develop that. That's a nice chunk of land there to develop.
Yeah.
What certification does our
The-
construction department have? Are they 1, 2, or 3?
Well-
What's this down there?
Well, 1 would be residential, 2, I do believe is commercial, and 3 is high-rise hazardous.
I want to stay away from the state.
Well,
I'll
but
tell
what
you
I'm
what.
saying is, our department would not be able to handle some things, and it'd go to the state anyway.
And as far as regular development, it's not going to happen. I mean, that's it. 85% of the town can't be touched. So it's kind of game over.
Take a look at the Phillipsburg Mall. I see more things growing in there. Take a
Really?
look at,
Oh, what?
take a look at Starbucks. They're gonna start in there.
But
That's not gonna fund them for the whole year.
and the thing is, these things are already done. Because the issue is, Sal, is that we're at a point now where we we have opportunities with some of these roles to be moved to areas
Zoning
where,
is not impacted.
yeah, zoning would still be
Zoning
local.
and zoning enforcement are separate from the
Well-
construction department.
I'm not in favor of going with the state. That's the way I feel.
So what I'm hearing is that there's not, I mean, you'd still have to cut out that 28,900 because then what's that then, Lorraine? It's almost a percent.
Yeah, if
Cent.
below that, we would still do, but that one we would not. That would take.
For construction?
Yeah, are you asking how much it would be for construction in as well?
Yeah.
Or would it be another $50?
I would, well,
Maybe we can go down line by line and see,
Rule them out?
see what we can agree upon, then get to these ones where some people have an objection to.
Okay.
And then maybe have a vote on each one of them. And then after it's all done, we'll either be, some of us will be comfortable with it or some of us won't.
There you go.
And then we'll vote on the whole package.
To introduce. So you want to do that now? Go
Well,
down?
Yeah, let's go down so that we
Okay.
can, because I think we need to introduce by next meeting.
Yeah,
And if we
okay.
Make any progress.
Okay. Oh,
The first thing was that increasing the use of surplus. Originally, when we first started talking about the budget, we were using 500,000. We thought our surplus balance would be about $1 million or 1.1 million, so that we increased now use 50% of our surplus at 550,000. So that additional 50,000 would take $24 off of the
is this supposed to be 550?
Is everyone okay with using it?
No.
Where's, I'm looking in the wrong spot.
no, you're right. It's the whole total.
Well, where you say increase use of surplus, and
Right.
the value,
Because initially,
it
on,
says 50,000.
no, because initially we only had 500,000 in the budget, so we're going to put another,
Because we have more surplus.
We have more.
Okay,
have
so
more
we're already
surplus to
using
use.
500, we're going to put another 50,000.
Right.
I understand, thank you.
Anybody have a problem with that?
any objection to that one?
No.
Okay, so that's okay. There's compromise.
We were proposing to eliminate the personal use of all vehicles and reduce the gasoline usage. That would be no personal use of vehicles with the exception of the police chief. No other vehicles.
No, and
Oh,
detective, and detectives.
Detectives have.
That
to
was,
be able to-
that was included when we did it.
They have to be
Yeah.
able to do their job.
That and the reduced cost of gasoline per gallon. We anticipated saving $10,000. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Municipal building, oh, I'm sorry, cleanup, the annual cleanup, townwide cleanup had previously been 3 days. It was proposed today to reduce it to 1.5.
I'm in favor of 2 days.
I think this was Donnie's
Make it the whole
idea. I think it was a good
Saturday.
idea.
For
Wait,
cleanup.
what did Donnie say?
Yeah, what do you think?
Donnie said reduce the number of days as if we're in hard times. Am I right? For cleanup?
Johnny, do you think all day Saturday and half day Sunday would be good? For the-
afternoon.
Sunday's
Sunday. It's month-
anyway.
Yeah, all
yeah.
day Saturday and
All
Sunday
day
afternoon.
Saturday and eliminate
and
Sunday.
Sunday afternoon,
And Sunday afternoon?
1.5.
Because it used to be Friday too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so do Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Everyone all right with that?
Okay.
Donnie has to.
Sorry, Don. That's fine. Okay.
So we salt the school, like, because we're good people?
Yeah, but it comes out of the same pocket.
No, our pocket.
But then it makes
Yeah,
it,
but what's
but
the
Sal, wait.
difference?
But saving the school board money,
Because it
they don't
makes
have
it
to
look like
spend. You don't
we're
get
the
it,
ones
Sal.
who are spending it, whereas really it's the school.
Yeah, the pocket that's 29% the size of
Let's
the
leave
40.
that go. Let's continue salting the school.
Oh, I didn't,
How he's
we're not saying
offended.
not to
Road
do
up
it.
there. What?
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
What's- We're still gonna
I
have
don't
to
wanna
pay
know.
the taxes on it.
No, but they can, their
not
budget, not ours.
So people really know where it's coming from.
People know that the
It's in
schools
the right
are,
column.
Hey, you know what? Donnie, would you be able to kind of quantify what that number is for me, and then we'll send a letter? Or maybe an invoice.
Well, I think you better prepare them first before you send an invoice.
Yeah, they can pick up the next tab. It's been a couple years. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good.
good idea.
That's really good. That's two.
How about the chipping, or what are you talking about? You talk about not letting
Each
people.
time the chipper comes, it's $1,900. They say it's coming a couple times a year. Has it decreased, Donnie, much since we put up the signs and eliminated the commercial people that were using it? Cut it in half or not quite half?
Well, what are you suggesting we do with it? Not let people do it? Or what?
I don't know
It's
if they're
probably, I would say, more from the
lower.
northern part than the southern. Southern, we have land. Who needs to go grind and chip anything?
So would it be fair to say that it's a relatively large expense and a small portion of the population?
Just like when we do.
A lot of the
leaf pickup.
population is in North End.
Leaf pickup is really the northern part of the township, not the southern part.
But there's very few
There's a lot of
services.
people that trim their ranches and their things and load up their cars and trucks and drop it off from all over. A lot of the, Strymer Manor Parkside area, the more
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
grass clippings.
They don't have a place to put stuff,
Right.
whereas like we do.
Yeah, but why would we, if we sell permits to people who are already paying tax, I mean, you're double hitting them.
They already paid sewer.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
You could always limit how much they bring in by giving them like a ticket, so many tickets. And each trip they make is, they use a ticket.
So instead of you getting like a free fifth trip, you get a fifth trip, you can't come back.
So it was going to, so it would be like, it would make them think about what they're bringing all at one time.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think we already have discussions about equity between North End and South End, and this will just exacerbate that.
All right, well, but the south end pays for the leaf pickup, we pay for it. It's like,
We got more roads to plow.
let's move on.
Yeah,
So we're good with reduced cleanup days?
yeah.
And Sal, that's okay with you?
It's okay with them.
Yeah.
The cleanup days. We talked
We're
about-
estimating 4,000.
Yeah.
Cut back.
All right.
All right, reduce the building cleaning from 2 days a week to 1 day per week.
When she cleans, does she clean the upstairs and the downstairs?
Yeah, and I think it's staged.
It is bigger.
Wait a
So,
minute, I don't think she'll be able to do it.
No, you got to rotate through. So maybe you clean, 1 week you clean one part of the building, another week you clean another part of the building. That's probably already done, right?
Well, guys,
She does
you
both?
gotta keep it neater.
you're going after everybody. I don't think that's, the worst part is actually this room.
Yeah.
It's not,
When the public comes in.
not this public, the one that comes on
Oh,
Thursday.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, not this,
And everything.
yeah, not these fine people.
No. If you drop something, you will pick it up.
Different group. So does anyone have any issue with that?
And that savings is what?
For this year, we're estimating it would, not to affect until April 1st, would be $4,500. One of the things that Frank had calculated this evening was to figure out how much that would be future year savings. So future year savings, that would be $11,700 a year.
I don't think she'll be able to do it.
No, because if you're just starting April, three more months doesn't make it double.
No, it's probably more like 8,000. It's about 200 and some bucks a day, right? So for 2/3.
Times 12 would be like $2,400 more, right?
Yeah, I think we have the ratio wrong there. But,
Yeah, 2,400.
It's not going to be $11,000.
oh, it'll be 10,000. It probably would. Yeah, I'm thinking the savings will be more than $4,500 for a partial year.
You know what I was thinking,
You're-
per week and multiplying that per day.
Probably about twice that. I mean, it's about per day. If it's $200 a day, it's about 10 grand a year. So it's about 20 grand. It's a little more than 20 grand we're paying for 2 days. So if you eliminate one day, you're going to save about 10 grand a year. This year, you'll save a little less.
What,
Because we're starting it late.
so does anyone have, I mean, and the thing is, these numbers aren't as dramatic as the ones further down, but they
Right.
do have to be, I mean, if we start saying, no, then they become the same size of this
Right.
number. So it's important that we look at this as the big picture. So is,
Actually, this will be a little bit more than we're
yeah.
down.
So what, is there any issue with that? Anyone have any? Okay, all right. Decrease recreation funding from 23,400 to 1,500. That's what they initially were before several years ago. So that's what they kind of had a nice little increase for a while.
So that saves $9,000, right?
That's,
Yeah.
saves 8,400 this year and every year, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Later for my minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have.
That's okay.
Does anyone have any issues with that one?
Go ahead, keep going.
It's okay.
All right, this one is kind of a no-brainer. There's no more Bloomsbury Emergency Squad, so there's no more appropriation.
Oh, I think we really,
Like, wait, what? Cancel old ordinance of 138,000 capital funding one time. Yeah, so this is a capital improvement, so it's a one shot. Anyone have any issue with that?
Nope.
Okay, the cancel purchase of trackless machine. Let's see, 95,000. Lorraine, I know we were going to move this in different spots.
Yeah, the amount that we had funded previously was $95,000.
Okay,
We'll be using a savings of $80,000 in this year's budget to reappropriate for road paving as opposed to appropriating the entire normal amount that we would put for road paving. And also, we had a deferred charge in this year's budget originally for $35,000, which was to pay a portion of that fee. So we're not going to go out and finance it, we were kind of borrowing from ourselves to pay for the machine. So instead of raising that $35,000, we kind of won't have to raise it. We would have had 2 years paying $35,000.
okay.
so that'll save 115 this year and 35 next
So
year.
next.
years. Or more.
I thought it was more years, like 5 or something.
That's what this one will include, so this will be, that's pretty much cutting it. It's $60,000 over 2 years. I'll drop that in half.
Okay.
What, I just, and Dave, maybe you can speak to this, or Donnie, what's the more important piece of equipment? Because conceivably we could put a dollar figure to either or to start funding one or the other.
I'll let Donnie make that call.
If you had to get one,
Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying.
Take that $1,000 and you have to track this machine, that's one.
It would be expensive, anything for that, just so high. The 95,000 that was previously raised.
35, 45,000.
I think it was a little more than that.
That's still there.
The 35 that we had in the budget was to pay ourselves back to the tracking machine. I think the dump truck was in for maybe 45.
Because it can't hear the rain.
You know, like 30.
Lorraine, you got to
They
put the
can't
mic
hear
on.
you.
Beeping to say you can't hear me?
Uh-huh.
There, move it down. There you
creepy.
go.
That's really creepy.
But I think the question is, though, if you could have one, the trackless or the truck, what is more? Oh,
That is correct, 3 or 4.
but,
Next year, we're gonna have to have a new pump.
okay,
So the dump truck is the way to go.
okay, so the dump,
Over here a year, and we're going on a mason.
okay. All right, so,
One full amount for the pump truck.
okay, so the truck is an absolute then, so,
Okay, for the 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so then, move construction services to the state.
Why don't we go to the, well, I'm sorry, probably both of those are controversial, so maybe, I was going to say move to the last one first, and Sal had a problem with that one.
I think the next four.
Yeah.
Lorraine, is that a true figure for the construction office that they're at a $28,000 deficit from what they take in as far as what their wages are?
Yes.
You're certain that's a true figure? Because when I met with Mr. Dagan, he said it was more like around a $6,000 the other way.
It varies either way. I don't know if he was adding in all of the people that are paid out of those fees. You have your electrical, your plumbing, your regular construction, your fire code, not your fire penalty. There's a bunch of people in
With the
there.
state, I just want to make sure that's a true figure, that if we do that, we're going to save that amount of much money.
Yeah, it would vary though. I mean, some years part of the money is
If we
paid
send it
out
to the
of the
state,
trust.
it's not going to cost us anything.
Right, and you don't get any permit fees back either.
Right, but I mean, it's a wash then. We don't, it's all our hands.
Then we don't have to raise anything in the current fund budget. In the prior years, prior to 2014, that was always just paid out of the trust, and when there was a deficit, you raised it the following year in the current fund. In 2014, it was the first year that we were a little more proactive and actually put an appropriation in the current fund instead of having a deficit and raising it the next year. So that amount would vary. It would depend, the number of inspections.
Isn't the problem that that we have a fixed salary and we have a low amount of construction?
Right, I understand that.
So there's not enough construction, there's not enough
Permit fees, you can't recoup
building
it,
going
yeah.
on to pay for the,
Well, that's what I was saying. That's why you would increase the permit fees then.
yeah, I know, but
Which you
then that would discourage more construction.
don't
I mean,
want to, but-
There could be a pretty valid argument made for general taxation paying a portion of your construction. I mean, your construction department does keep the safety and welfare of its citizens in the front of the mind with the inspections that they do and the requirements. And I mean, so there is a public service faction to their
Well,
costs.
No question about that. I mean, yeah, that is, I mean, it's a local, you're paying for the local, representation. However, there have been several situations in the state of New Jersey where a service was provided to a municipality for free, and if you didn't take advantage of it, you kind of get stuck with the bat, they don't offer it anymore. So I think also while the state is giving us this opportunity to use this service for free and get on with the state, I think it would behoove us to do it before they take it away or start to charge
Oh,
it.
you mean like
Get
the state
grandfathered.
police?
Well, like the state police, like there's like so many other things. I mean, you can't, I mean, that's a whole another animal, what you get with the state police versus local. But, I mean, there are things that they say they're going to do and then they take away from you. So, I think we should
State give it from the state.
take it away. That's right.
If you never had it, you won't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
I'd rather have them take it away from us. At least we can.
28.9 is what was in the budget last year, in 2014.
That was what the deficit was, and we had to pick up kind of what you're saying.
Right, that was the budgeted, the current fund appropriation towards it in 2015.
Now, what would happen to the funds that are in the trust?
They're being used so far this year to pay all the salaries and operational expenses of construction.
So if we go to the state, then what happens to those monies?
I don't know, that would be a state determination. I don't know if they would take those monies,
Or whether we
we'd
would
have to pay them over.
Well, I think that's an issue that Kevin was looking into,
Oh, okay.
about what happens to the funds if we're able to then,
Because
use
they
them
will
in a-
take all of our documentation too, won't they?
yeah.
Like all our records?
I don't know, that's beyond my
They will
scope.
take stuff
Yeah.
that's been done, Mary, but the new stuff,
They'll take the new stuff?
I'm not 100% sure about that, because I did talk to Chuck about that.
Okay.
Because they were even willing to come here to our building one day, whenever we wanted to keep ours here.
Oh, yeah, they usually.
Oh,
do
they
that,
will,
yeah.
yeah. They'll
That's
meet
stuff
here
We need to discuss with,
whenever we get.
whenever we can get to
Yeah.
it without the weather.
Okay, so is there any does anyone object to that
I
cut?
don't object as long as that's.
So there's one objection. There's anyone others? Then it's in, okay. Policy change, decreased land use board meeting. We're not decreasing the meetings, but we're decreasing the funding pro rata to 2 to 1 a month.
So you're still going to have 2 meetings a month?
No, we would pay them as if they only have 1 meeting a month and they decide when they.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I can remember when they only did have 1 meeting a month. If they had any kind of extra meeting, a special meeting, then whoever the client was paid for all the fees associated with it.
There's an
So is
idea.
this the savings on the professionals, or is this the secretary? I'm just curious.
They paid for everything for that special meeting.
Now, Wanda wants to know 9,500, where's the savings gonna come in
Is it
from?
from the new professionals going to having one last meeting, or the secretary?
It's secretary. I mean, the
What's his-
professionals are already,
his
the
concern?
professionals are, the secretary's on a flat rate per year. The professionals are on a per meeting basis, my understanding.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind changing the secretary to a per meeting basis.
Yeah, then that would,
Then if they don't, well, as long as they don't have too many meetings.
yeah. Well, but
Well,
then,
like I said,
but then you eliminate us, then it eliminates the council from having to get into funding issues because it's based upon flow, essentially, yeah.
like I said, the extra meetings from the different people who wanted to have the meeting, they paid for it. So therefore, it was no cost to the municipality. Something to think about.
I'll tell you one.
Is that a policy that
It
the land
was.
use heads to adopt?
It was way back in the before times.
I think in 2011, there was 8 meetings.
No, I'm just talking about 2000. I mean, there was a lot going on with being in court and everything, but.
Being in court? Who was the mayor then? That must have been horrible, whoever did that.
I was the mayor. And before that, it was just, and before that, it was Kenny Harrison.
Okay, so is there any objection to that?
I don't know whether Wendy could do the job with one meeting. You know, she's still going to do the same amount of work.
They keep canceling meetings, what do you mean? It's not like that there's a lot of work
Yeah,
out
but
there.
she answers the phone at home.
Yeah.
She's constantly on the phone here.
Yeah, and she's being paid for being here.
Sal,
What?
this is the situation, and it's the same with the construction official. There is no development or growth now or in the near future that's going to be taking place. And if there is, then we have the ability then to evaluate it by increased funding. But right now, there's not. I mean, I think out there, the applications that came before the land use board last year, I mean, I think
How many meetings were canceled?
half of them are in the room. I mean, there's not, that time has passed as far as growth right now. And part of it is the global economy too, Sal. I mean, it's not just what's happening here. There's no.
You know, and I was just thinking about the construction department. Every year, they're supposed to file a report with the state.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody get to see a copy of that report?
I'm sure you could ask for,
Well, I used to get a copy of it when I was in charge of that department.
Dave might have it, I don't know.
So that's what I'm saying, it really, it kind of gave you a look into.
You know, a big place we could save on is the cost of electricity. I'll tell you what, everybody's got a heater here. You realize what our electric bill is here?
So once we get our heating problem fixed, we find the leak, then we won't have to use heat. It's a freon leak, and we're trying to
Yeah.
find the leak.
I know. I think maybe we should try
Yeah,
some.
is there anyone, who wants this one pulled out? The land use reducing. Okay, none. Police, this one is, Lorraine, can you go over this number?
Sure. They were readjusted to reflect that we're later in the year than was originally calculated. And the salaries and wage line item includes not only the direct labor cost, the salary, it also includes the employer's portion of the pension contribution, the employment taxes, and I think that's it.
That's for one officer?
Yes, that's for one officer, last one in. And the insurance cost is the direct insurance cost for that particular employee.
And that's, the first column is the first year impact, and the column over to the right is the full year impact.
Correct. That's with no salary increase.
Right.
There would be a salary increase, I'm sure, for next year as well. I didn't factor that in.
Okay, so with that particular line item, does anyone not want that in our?
Obviously, I don't want it put in there.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to speak up, Mayor, too,
Is not wanting to do it?
for now.
I mean, the only thing I'm going to say is if that is the case, now, I mean, you got to find that number, that 72 number, and then in the future, that 104 number, because this problem isn't going away.
I agree, Mayor.
So we had,
Hoping somebody retires.
And the world may end tomorrow. We don't know what's in the future.
You know what the tax increase will be.
Yeah, and you know what? My assessed value is a lot more than what the average assessed value is. So my taxes will definitely go up. But to me, it's worth it.
all right, so that's out. DPW,
I don't want to cut them either.
Lauren, could you please explain it, though?
It's the same rationale as was employed for police. That's the salary and wage of the last employee in, including pension and employment taxes. And then the insurance is based on that employee's specific plan costs.
Okay. All right, so is there anyone that,
No, I don't, I just told you, how many times?
Okay, so that's two of us that don't want to cut the road. David?
What?
Different plans.
different, yeah, the different,
Different plans?
different plans?
I don't think so. Do they?
Yeah, there's all sorts of different policies you could get. You could have single, you could have.
Oh.
The husband and
That
wife
comes
and
when
one
you
is married.
negotiate.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But still, it's a percentage of your income, so the policy is the same, so what the township has to put is more for some than others, right?
The actual cost, the end cost
I got it.
is more.
So it depends sort of on the demographics and their choices.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I
A
think like
family plan is more expensive than a parent-child or a
spouse.
husband and wife. Right.
is less than the kids.
Insurance coverage.
That's right, that's in that too.
I'm going to weigh in with Sal, Mary, on that also.
Okay, so you're looking at a 12.1 cent increase. It's about 11.25%. And on the average value home, it's going to be $203.75.
What's the dollar amount that would have to be cut from the budget to get that? Like, what do we have to keep looking for?
If what?
Like, what do we have to hack out of the budget in replace of that? In place of these two items, what's the dollar figure we have to
Okay, well,
find?
even if you did cut those, you were still going to go up 8 cents.
No, I understand that,
So,
but what is the dollar figure of those two items that were not cut out of this?
Okay. For,
Hold on, Sal, hold on.
sorry. I thought I had a total, but I must have fat fingered it.
I'll low pat and start using my gavel.
About 138,000 for this year.
138?
For this year.
Okay. And then what's next year?
Without including any contractual increases in the labor costs or the.
Just for an easy number, yeah.
$200,693.
263?
693.
1,000 roughly.
Oh, 200,
So you
okay.
round up to 201,000.
So we're going to have to look for another $60-some-odd thousand.
Yeah, next year, you look, so that's,
Yeah, your problems get, if you don't address spending issues today, they grow into
Wow.
worse problems tomorrow.
Your medical insurance goes up between 2 and 4%. And,
Guaranteed, right?
It went up 6% this year.
Okay, so you might even have another jump like that for next year for the medical insurance. As far as your labor costs, I don't know what your contractual increases were for next year, but I'm quite certain there would be some.
15, no, the 16, they have to be negotiated.
so what is, outside of these, I'm looking long-term, aside from this 200,000, next year, what are other things then that we're going to, like, are we looking at if the taxes go up that 12% number, next year, when the budget starts again, what is the anticipated hole that we're going to be in? Because there were some capital things that were used to offset.
Right, all of the other changes that were enumerated on that spreadsheet, if you took out the $200,000 for police and DPW, you'd still be left with about $186,000 saved in future years for the changes that you just made this evening. So wherever you would start off from next year, whatever your contractual increases would be, your health insurance increases, your liability insurance increases, you would have at least a savings from this year of $186,000 going forward.
Okay.
I guess we're honing in anyway, but I wonder if we should, we're getting close to being able to introduce, I think, but I wonder if we should wait till next meeting to introduce, and in the meantime, we might hear some ideas for savings
I'd go along with
that Detective Rob has offered to meet with us on.
Yeah, I
And
think,
hopefully they'll be significant because,
well, you know what, too, I think there's a couple other things that we are hopefully entertaining as well that we weren't discussed tonight, that, you know, you never know with a shared service that appears or something like that. So, I mean, there are other.
Did we ever get that $400,000 for the road department, that funding? Remember Glenn talking about it? I think it involved the state police.
yeah, I asked that last time and Gwen said we did. I think that was when.
Yeah,
she
we
was
did.
complimenting
You did.
on-
Yep,
Okay,
yep,
we
yep.
did get it,
Mhm.
okay, all right.
Just a footnote for the future as well. We're not generating as much surplus as we had in the past. That's going to start to
Right.
slow down because our budget's tighter. We're not going to have as many appropriations lapse as we used to in the past, and our revenues are pretty maxed out. So we're not going to have a windfall of revenue that we're not anticipating. So as our budget gets leaner, we're going to reproduce a lot less surplus. So the amount of surplus that we use will probably not be replaced.
Does this budget also include the cancellation of the legal settlement?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Just wanted to.
That's a future savings as well, too. I think we had
Yes.
30 or 35 this year. Next year it'll be the
60,
full
right.
60. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, well, this was healthy.
So we're going to prepare the budget to introduce based on these factors and anything else that would come up in the
Yeah,
next.
and then, yeah. No, well, let's say 2 weeks. I mean, we'll get
Isn't the meeting in 2 weeks?
a week. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking.
All right. Okay, so if anyone has any ideas or some last minute,
And
last ditch efforts for.
then what's,
incredible-
just procedurally, amendment-wise, what's the most you can change a budget once it's introduced? It's not a lot. It's
I don't know. It depends. If you have a new insertion of a new line item of revenue or appropriation exceeding, I think, 2%.
I think,
Is that right?
I think that's right.
2%.
Five and something, yeah.
And then you can change an existing level by a different percent. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I just point that out because once this is introduced, there's not a lot of mobility to go up and down. So anything you kind of want it. The second reading, you should know that that's going to be your budget.
Are we going to get Bill Schroeder sort of given?
Yes. This Friday, I'll be sending him
Well,
our budget so he can
is he coming to the next meeting or the one in April?
he can come to whatever meeting you'd like.
Well, I mean, I'm asking. What's
Yeah, it's probably better to have him here for the hearing in case anyone would have a
Okay.
a larger question.
I'm okay with that. All right.
Which really happens at your introduction.
Yeah, it just gets introduced.
A little anticlimactic.
Okay. All right, so is there any other comments on the budget for now, or no? All right, well, I thank everyone for their patience and their civility on this. I especially, again, thank Frank and Lorraine. I mean, that does take a lot of work what they did, so much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Resolutions, does anyone,
I move we pass these two resolutions. The
Sec-
redemption of tax certificates.
I'll second it.
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Van Blue?
Yes.
Van Jelly?
Yes.
Kern?
yes. Ordinance 15-02 to amend the background check. I want to table this because there's something that Kevin didn't address in this, so if we could table it to the next
Okay,
meeting.
what didn't he address?
It's semantics.
Oh, okay.
So I'm motioning,
All
I'll
right,
move
so
to
we'll
table
just
that.
postpone it
Okay. Well, actually, we don't need,
Until next month, or
Yeah.
next meeting.
do you need a motion for that, Wanda?
Just say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Who's Mr. John? I know, it was just funny to read it.
Does he get paid a lot?
Yeah,
Maybe we can find some budget savings.
yeah.
Okay, now,
Change it.
what day are we gonna do the cleanup? Because this matters here.
Oh, I
It's-
thought it was, oh, yeah, we're gonna change.
Yeah,
It's
this,
gonna be the 9th and 10th.
the 9th and the 10th,
Half
The
day?
Hours.
half day on the 10th. And what we'll do is we're
You
going to
want to do it in the afternoon or the morning?
coordinate with Donnie.
Afternoon.
That's a Sunday, so afternoon. I guess.
Probably the afternoon, but we'll coordinate with,
The clap guys go back early, right, Donnie?
Oh.
Yeah, so what are you gonna,
we'll have to do it. What are they doing? The
How about
clap
hours
guys?
to be
Determined?
determined by Donnie?
Yeah,
To be determined, that's all.
yeah, with hours to be,
Right, make it to 2 days and then we'll figure out the.
Two or day and a
1.5.
half?
Well, you're still talking.
2 dates.
2 days.
Dates.
You're still talking.
Oh, okay.
9th and 10th.
so the 9th and the 10th, so it'll be those 2
Yeah,
days.
Should be announced at the time.
Donnie, which day do you generally get more traffic, Saturday or Sunday? Saturday? About the same?
Even if it's on Mother's Day?
yeah,
A lot of people,
that's their gift to their mother.
yeah, so I was just going to say, it's a good Mother's Day gift.
Well, at least they're not having to clean up on Mother's Day.
The yard sale?
Donnie, was it your guys' idea to go with LMR for the cleanup or not? Were you all right with that thing? We used a different carter
We
before?
always use Gary Gray, but I called for other prices and LMR's a little cheaper.
Okay.
Good.
How about like the iron and stuff? They'll deal with that too, or that's gonna?
I didn't ask him that for a metal container, because Gary Gray, you got a separate one from somebody else.
You know-
From LMR?
You know what, Wanda, too?
What will we do with the metal then? We'll still deal with.
How many people take out yard
Okay.
sale permits the day after? The big,
Sunday?
yeah. Because I'm thinking, why don't we do it the 2 days? Give them the weekend.
Usually not, but you could.
But there's not like a big rush for it?
No.
Because I was thinking if we make a nice penny, you know, people thinking they want to do the full, but why not give them the 2 days? Especially if there's inclement weather, you know, you can,
Okay, you wanna make
yeah, can we do,
Saturday and
we'll
Sunday?
give a day on that and we'll take a day on the other.
So,
So the community yard sale is going to be the 2nd and the 3rd.
oh,
So do 2 days for the yard sale. So it'd be yard sale weekend.
gotcha. Okay.
And then the next weekend will be for all the stuff you can't
Right,
sell.
just the cleanup.
So you give them an extra day to sell stuff, so there's less garbage the following
Exactly.
weekend.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's good reasoning.
that's clearance day. Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, I move we pass these 4 motions.
As amended.
I'll
Yes.
second
Yes,
it.
as amended.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Van Loo? Yes. And Jelly?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. All right, mayor's appointment to appoint Ingrid Gray to the Land Use Board to serve as my designee on the board. We need a motion for that one? Anticlimactic. So it is written.
Congratulations.
Okay. Public comment. Is there any general public comment? If you have any comment, please sign in, state your comment.
Every time you tell me sign in, I think of that program, What's My Line? Sign in, please.
Kern, sign up.
Yeah, I'm dating myself.
You don't have to do anything.
Jerry Kern. I'd like to thank Lorraine and Frank for an outstanding presentation. Been coming to these meetings for over 10 years, have never seen nothing like it. Learned a lot. I wish we had it 10 years ago. Maybe we wouldn't be here today. The real surprising part for me was the police. The numbers, our numbers, way out of whack. And, I mean, I'm like everyone else. I don't want to see anybody lose a job. But when's enough enough? If we take that number to the highest next level, I don't know how many officers that would mean, if even a whole number, a whole officer. But we can't keep doing this. This is everything else I heard in early was fantastic. I felt great. But then we started talking about it and really disappointed in this council. I can only hope that the rest of the pie, because what we're talking about is 30% of that big pie. We still got school, county, and all the others. So if we're comfortable with sitting here saying that $220 increase on a household is acceptable, if the other portion of that pie, 70%, what's our tax increase going to be at the end of the year? Tell that to the families that are going to lose their home. Because if you think we can, I know, Mary, you said you were comfortable with that, but tell that to the people that can't afford it, that will lose their home. This is the beginning of a snowball here. We already know that next year is going to be worse, but yet we're sitting here saying this is okay to increase this amount of money. It's absurd, unthinkable, but yet we're actually talking about it. When is it too much money? Is there a number that's going to, what you would say no to? I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. The numbers are the numbers, and I understand you made some good argument about area, and I think Frank even covered that by using Mansfield, and I think that's a great comparison. But it becomes more than that. It becomes, what can we afford as a town? We were all like, I wish we could afford 30 police officers. I honestly do. It would be great, but we can't. And I've been saying this for years. We keep cutting everything out. You know, we have the Highlands, we have the Economic Times, and I said, and I've been saying it for years, it's going to come home to roost. Well, guess what it is? Perfect example. We can't even pay for our construction officials. There's not enough going on to even pay that. Well, everyone better start getting used to it when you have no growth, because this is where it's headed. This is just the beginning. I mean, I look at that pie. I mean, the biggest impact, when right away we cut out our construction officials, there's one person. Maybe we could do something with change in hours or something. That's going to be a bigger impact on people in town here when they have to try. I deal with trying to go to the state for inspections. Wait till you start hearing from the homeowners that have to go there, because you're not going to want to be listening to them. The chart shows we have way more police officers than any other town. It's clear. And if someone can show me something different, I want to listen to it, but I don't see it. I don't know how we start on construction officials. I don't see it. Is it easier because they're not here? I don't understand. But I really hope this council would revisit, because people in this town cannot afford these increases. And I would hope you'd consider all the increase of that pie, not just what's going to take place here, because we all know it's going up at school and everywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yep.
Hi, I already wrote my name down. My name's Karen Weeks. Just two points, one question actually. The ordinance on the coaches, the background checks, when do you think that will be able to go through? Because you're holding up my softball season.
I would just proceed as everything that we discussed, because the attorney, there's some semantics that he missed from what Bill had sent me previously, so he's got to re-put that in.
So it's okay if I am, say for myself, cleared for a background check to go to the police and get my card?
Yeah, yeah.
That's just what I want to know. My second thing is, and I realized, Mr. Becker did a very nice presentation on the budget. Yes, the school budget is 47% of your taxes. I just like to make people aware that the school's budget, the most of it is your high school. We have just again been hit with another $1,000 increase per student to go to the high school. So you are at $15,500 for tuition to Phillipsburg High School. That is where most of your taxes is going. So that is just big food for thought when you're looking at the school budget. That's all I got.
Thank you. Yeah, that's-
Yes, can we send them all to Rutgers? It'd be cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Just a comment, I don't know if council is aware of this. We received a letter from the state of New Jersey, the federal government, again, trying to close out Hurricane Sandy expenses. As far as I know, I have to check with Glenn. She's resubmitting this big, probably blowing up some money from that. So the money from the pay off, all the expenses we had. The check there, that should go right in the general account. All expenses have to be paid for. So I don't know how much it is. I think it's about $8,000. I'm not sure.
That'd be nice. Okay.
Another thing to think about.
Thank you, Donnie. Any other public? Yes, sir.
Comment in reference to the athletics background checks. I know there was some stuff that might have changed the ordinance, but we've had individuals come already and we turn them away, just not knowing what the exact changes would be. But from what if I understand correctly, I believe there's going to be some exemptions.
Yeah, and I don't think Kevin had the chief CC'd on them, on some of the,
I spoke with the chief this morning.
Okay.
He asked me to come here because he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
His questions came up about that, because we talked about every part of it together. The only thing that he brought up to me is that he received an email in reference to, Mr. Ortell asked about after 3 years, can we just run somebody at the state, instead of having them go through a whole criminal background check?
yeah,
We cannot do that. And the reason is that the state has tied our hands on that. What they make us do now is we can't do, I can run criminal histories for anyone, for the court, for my criminal investigation. But when it comes to anything with, we used to do realtors, all kinds of stuff, but the state now has created a program with the workbook track system.
Yeah.
Where we have to send everybody to the state. They have to pay whatever the state fee is. And then on top of that, they have to pay an $11 registration fee to the workbook track system that does the fingerprint. We're not allowed to do those fingerprints that we used to. So that was the question, I guess, one of the questions at hand. We cannot just call down to the state, run their name to see if there was anything in the past 3 years, and then just give them the exemption. We're not allowed to do that for the NCIC protocol.
so if you do one, like if we do go to 3 to 5, they would just have to do it every 5? Okay, they can't, all right.
But that it's $40 per person. If you do it every 5 years, it breaks it down to $8 a year. There's some coaches that start at the beginning. If they're going to be there for that 5 years, they pay that $40 fee one time, and they don't have to pay it the rest of the time. And then we already have everything set in place where we have identification cards that we're making up or printing up. And if you have an identification card, that means you pass the background check, and you have to just wear that at practices and at the games, so that if we do a spot check, just to make sure that everything's copacetic, that we would see, as long as we saw the ID, we wouldn't have any questions or have to come on the field or have any interference except for just doing a check with identification.
Right, but my concern, just for me, I just was background checked like 2 months ago. I have my clearance, so that was my thing. Can I just go to the police station and say, here's my background check, I'm cleared, can I get my ID card?
I don't know what clearance you've got. I don't know.
Education, it's through the Board of Ed, so
Right.
it's high education.
And that is a decision that the council would have to make.
Yeah, that's what Kevin was looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
The exemptions would be. I just know for us, we cannot, we have to do it through the state. We can't just run anybody, even if you were state.
Right,
president.
right,
We can't call down and confirm that. You would have to provide us with something that's.
right, a piece of, right, something, some sort of proof. Right.
But we would not be able to do that. We'll find that out because we can't run it through the state without having somebody do it.
Do you think, just You think 5 year, professionally, you think 5 years is, that's good? Okay.
After 3 years, if you bump to 5, knowing a lot of the people that are in the rec association, they're there for that duration.
Yeah, exactly.
They're there for maybe even more. If their child begins at the level of flags, and as an example of sport of football, they start at flags, they go to their 8th grade year. You know the potential of them being there for a good 8 years, just in the rec association. So that would give them, for the duration of their coaching, maybe if they're there for 10 years, they have to do it twice in the junior span, which would cost an individual $80, which would break it down to less than $8.
Yeah. And we allow it, if we hear something, it gives you the ability to check it and remove the person. So, okay.
And we could do that at that situation. If we had that, we just have to get a clause in the ordinance that says if we have a suspicion or anything that comes up with a criminal investigation or anything, that we could make that person go for a mandatory background check, which would let them go with fingerprints or whatever, so we can confirm that.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you. We'll know, he didn't make it, he got stuck actually. So I'll hopefully know tomorrow what's his.
In the meantime, what I would recommend is anybody that doesn't have a state license, because if that's one of the considerations,
Yeah.
that they still come down, and we'll start the process if they don't have a state license, that they were fingerprinted with the state as a teacher or as an employment opportunity, then we should still at least start that process so it doesn't back up the coaching, so we can start getting everybody in and
Get the ball rolling, yeah. Cool. Thank you, Scott. Any other public comment?
Do you think we'll get any more volunteers?
Sal, this wasn't necessarily just the town's idea. The rec wanted something because there was an issue that came up where they didn't have the teeth to enforce something. And every other town, and actually what it was another town had a coach who was coaching at Pohat as an away coach because we didn't have an ordinance to do anything in Powhatan. So it protects the kids. Any other public comment?
Enrique Hernandez, River Road. I'd like to congratulate Frank on the presentation that he made. I thought it was outstanding, as well as the financial officer. One of the thoughts that Francis and I have had is whether there would be any value to having a professional town manager, in the sense that even though you're now paying a salary for that, that person would be an expert at obtaining grants, and whether this is an opportunity to increase our revenue that would be worth looking into. The second comment I have is about the police and the figures that Frank put up. And I'll try to think of it in terms of medicine, which is the field that I practiced in. Medicine is moving into what's called evidence-based decisions. So we saw an analysis of proportion of policemen to citizens or residents, or if you want policemen to square miles that need to be patrolled. And my question to you is there any evidence that we can tap into as to what is, in fact, the parameters that are recommended? Is there any objective evidence to say a figure of 2.0 is more effective than 1.0, or 3.1 is better than 2.1, so that rather than guessing as to what is the proper number of police, we have some objective criteria to go by? And I guess a corollary to that is the police union, can they bring any information to show that, in fact, the number of personnel that is currently hired is the correct amount?
I think the second question, they probably have someone that has figures that will suggest that we need like probably 30 police officers. And I'm sure that there's a municipality service that would suggest that we could get away with one officer per shift. But there is, in speaking with a neighboring municipality, they're doing a study with, I believe he's the former chief of Newark, and he now is a consultant who comes in and analyzes how many police, call volume, different types of crimes that happen in the town, population, square miles, things like that. And I'm going to be interested to see what he comes up with for Greenwich, because if it's something that is, worthwhile as far as an expenditure, whether or not it defends our staffing size or it justifies for reductions, I think it's an important tool to look. I think it's cost him 15 grand. I mean, it's a significant expenditure, but if it's something that is a respected study that,
Recognized.
right now it's we can only base off of the information that we know. I mean, I think it's just going to be worth to see what Greenwich does with that information, but that's a good point.
That's exactly what I was.
I have seen,
That's when Bob Barrett was chief, that they had come with a report as far as how many police, and you're right, it wasn't 30, but it was more than the number of police they had at that time. They said that we needed, but we didn't go along with it, we just stayed with what we felt was appropriate.
I have seen a study, actually, Trish Googled, found a study that, and I'm not sure how, I haven't studied it in depth, but I saw a number like 2.5
Per thousand.
These are typical.
Well, yeah, then off of the, okay. It's interesting. Any other public comment?
Almost full.
Oh, there's 15 minutes. I'm sorry.
Kevin Melvin, Winners Road. So first and foremost, I want to agree with some of the folks that came before and commend the township on the presentation. I know that Councilman Becker and Lorraine, as the CFO, put a lot of work into that. I also think it shows the amount of civility in the conversations that are happening here, and we recognize the sensitivity for some of these, as it does have a human approach. One idea for future presentations is you guys are all talking about an Excel spreadsheet. I'm a numbers guy too. I'd like to see what's going on, and you could always project your Excel onto the for increased transparency. So it would also help for us to see some of that information, I think, to then come up with ideas and other questions that we may have. But again, I just want to commend you guys. I said this last year at this time. It's a great presentation, and wish you to continue to do so.
Actually, just to make a comment on that, we were trying, we ran out of time.
Yeah, and you don't even have to put it up on a slide in PowerPoint. You could just project Excel if you needed to. Second thing, I guess, the question that I had, Frank, and I see you already unplugged the ring, but in 2010, there was a miscellaneous revenue stream that I didn't see in any of the other areas. Could you speak to what that may have been?
I saw an item that was called interfunds due from general capital that I didn't see in any other year. And I asked Lorraine about that, and maybe I don't think there's an easy explanation for it, but and it precedes both of us. So, but if you want to give it a shot, go ahead.
Yeah, funds will borrow from one another. It's common for capital, if they're running out of money, they'll borrow from current fund. If that's not paid back by the end of the year, then you have an interfund. It has especially a negative impact on current fund. It reduces your fund balance. You have to set up a reserve to offset the receivable. So that's your negative impact. But I guess what the auditor had done the year following that, they anticipated the return of the repayment of that surplus in the next calendar year, which would have been 2010, which would act as a revenue in 2010 and effectively cancel out your negative impact from your prior year.
Okay, thank you. And then you had talked about the spend coming out of surplus. I think the number you had was it 50%?
50% was what we anticipate. If we anticipate having about $1.1 million of surplus at the beginning of 2015, and we anticipate using $550,000 of it, half of it.
And that was what the increase was on your spreadsheet?
Because last time we were looking at this, we were anticipating using 500.
Right.
We got harder numbers, and the harder numbers showed that we had actually $1.1 million of surplus rather than $1 million.
So the dollar number changed due to the increase, but the percentage itself was flat.
Right. I mean,
And then I guess just another follow-on question. There would also always be opportunity to, if need be, to increase that to say 55% as one of the options if you so choose, right? So you're not stuck because when you looked at the historical, and I recognize that your future surpluses are going to go down because your tighter budgets, you're not going to have excess surplus, but your surpluses back, I guess it was about 10 years ago, were around 400K, it looked like, and now you're up over 1.5 million. So
no. We're at 1.1 at the beginning of the year. We anticipate using 550. We'll probably be at 550 at the beginning of next year.
all right, 1.1. Okay. So you're projecting a surplus next year right now at 550?
We're hoping not to use more than 550 of our 1.1 million surplus this year, and so we'd expect to have 550 next year. And
I guess the question
happens.
The question I have, and you know, my background is not finance, but when I saw your budget numbers, you were eating almost all of it from your surplus every year, year over year, 96%, 90%, and it has come down.
Yeah, it came down by about 10% per year to 50%.
Right, so there's got to be something funding that surplus in addition to whatever's carried over year.
Red light camera.
Okay. Some of the other areas that you sort of touched upon with the shared services, and I recognize that Kevin may be the person to ask this too. For your court shared services, was there anything built in for building use, utilities, and things along those lines taken into account in that contract? Are we able to play with the court fees? So, for example, you're talking about cleaning, and I heard the mayor say that most of the cleaning is a result of the court itself. What if you tacked on $1 to everybody's court fees to then cover your cleaning costs?
We can't, unfortunately, we can't amend certain fines. Like, I see what you're saying, where like you could tack people and then make up money, but we can't. It's all regulated by the state for what we can deem an appropriate fine. I mean, ideally, anyone who comes in this court is going to get hit with a municipal violation. They're going to get hit with the $33 court. They're going to get hit. I mean, our judge and prosecutor make sure everyone who steps in, even if they're pleading something, is hit with the $33 court charge. But there's not much more we can do. But that would be a nice tool at your disposal for having a court.
So that's mandated by the state. We can't adjust.
Mm-hmm. Certain things we can, but not the ones that are frequent violations that people would be in here for.
Okay. And we also have to pay for a public defender.
Yeah.
The comments tonight about the SALT, I think you should kick that to the school board's budget. I'm fully in support of that. They've got the largest budget out of the taxes that come. I do appreciate the comment on the budget and the allocations of the funds. I mean, you've heard me sit up here a number of times and point out that the school budget is the greatest portion. And then on top of that, you know, I've been beating the chest a little bit to say Phillipsburg High School is moving, and it's not going to be in Phillipsburg, so I don't see that we should be held over sort of the barrel on that. And I don't know what action, if any, legally we as a town can continue to pursue, but obviously that's something I would encourage our attorney and the school board as well to look at, so that we're not hold over that barrel continually. This was just a kind of an out-of-the-box idea, but I heard the comment about the chipper, and so I didn't know if there was actually an opportunity here to commingle something along the lines of a town bonfire. So, you know, we have community nights, stuff like that. Instead of spending $1,900 to chip it away, you know, I don't know, maybe you do a bonfire and then let Huntington come and do some practice at the end. So, you know, just throwing it out there.
We don't lose the municipal building.
Yeah.
That would be a claim, wouldn't it? I mean,
Dr. Hernandez kind of stole some of my thunder, but I had a big question is, are we taking advantage of all the grants that are available out there to us? I know a lot of people are looking into that funding, and some of those sources are being taken advantage of by a number of groups. Post one of the meetings earlier this year, I know Rennie got online and started looking, and she was sending me 20 emails saying there's this kind of this one out there. So, you know, how confident are we that we're not leaving money on the table available to us? So I would encourage us to look into that further if we could. And then the other thing is, I know that there's some lawsuits that the town has been named in. And so not sure how that may have a potential budgetary impact, and maybe we can get an update from Kevin on that so that we don't have something hanging over our head that has a potential impact. So maybe at the next meeting he can provide something in his attorney's report just about the number of lawsuits the town is involved in, and you know, is something going to come out and bite us?
They're often insured, I will say that. But, what's our deductible, though? $10,000. So, maybe, I think it's $20,000.
Yeah.
$10,000.
and who knows what another,
We're also, you know, attorney's fees and everything else that's happening with all of these, right? So,
Well, we generally use the insurance company.
yeah, the insurance company's counsel.
They pick the attorney.
and then lastly, again, piggybacking on something that Dr. Hernandez said, you know, one of the items you may want to look at for the police statistics, the one thing I didn't see in there is, and I believe the mayor just alluded to it, is a, you know, crime as far as number of calls and stuff like that. And that, so I could see how that would work in as a variable, right? So you have your, you know, your per population, you've got your geographic mix, but also what is your crime rate? So I would expect that to play into any algorithm.
Right. Type of crime is important too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Jaywalking versus
Although I don't think there's been too many jaywalking fines in, oh, thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we need a quick executive session, should be more than 10 minutes for contractual. And there will be action taken. So would I have a motion for a quick executive?
I move to go into executive session.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
They do, it's like factories and all.
Okay, do we want to have a motion to return?
Yes, is there a motion?
I move, we return. Take a second.
So,
All in favor?
hi, okay. We need a motion to accept the quote for the installation, Wanda?
North Pole for installation for the old part of the municipal building?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the amount was $25.10.
I'll make that motion
I
pending
will
double
second
check.
it.
I'll second it.
I second, and I was right.
Okay.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Demu?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes. Is there a motion to appoint Frank and I to be on a negotiating committee to meet with Lopakong Township for
I moved it.
shared services? I'll second it.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Yes.
Cameron? Yes. Jelly?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
I move we adjourn.
Drive safe.
Drive safe, everybody.
Drive safely.
I mean.
Correct grammar.
Come on.
Yes.